Hey, what is going on, crypto people? Happy Generational Wealth Wednesday to each and every one of you. Whoa, I got a lot of work to do today. I got a lot of things to get done. Listen, the Flare Missions is live. Pretty cool. I'm going to share my strategy for earning some of those emissions. We're going to go through it together, see what's good on the Spark decks, see which, if any, liquidity pools we should enter. And what do we do before we enter the liquidity pool? We're going to get those questions answered today. Should we mess around with the Clearpool and the USDX? For those of us who don't, for those of us who don't live in the US, what should we do? Should we hang out on Scepter? We'll get into that. We'll have a little discussion, a little talk about it. I snatched up some BTC today at 64, I don't know what's going on there, but might as well snatch up some while you can. Might as well. I don't care if it's only $50. I'm like, it's $50. BTC at 64. Might as well snatch some up while you can. So I did. In any case, so I kind of added to, I already did my DCA for the month, but I guess I just added to it. So we'll get into that. A lot of stuff going on Crypto X. Share a little video with JackMcDonald, kind of the lead dude for the Ripple stablecoin. He's kind of the head guy leading that push or charge. So it's going to be very interesting to see what he gets done. I really do think wise move to put him in charge of that initiative for sure. Very, very wise move indeed. Some stuff on Crypto X, we'll go over that, Market's doing what it does, fam. We'll go over the numbers. If you can stomach it, I'll share what the numbers are on CoinGecko. I'll share it right now. Bitcoin's in a bit of a dive. It looks like I was ready to take a snap at some BTC at 65, and next you know it was 64.7. So it was like a big wick down. So we'll go over the numbers there. Rochelle Renee had is that Rachel? Is it Rachel or Rochelle? Interesting comment about XRP and whether or not after we get this ruling in the remedy phase, whether or not it'll have any effect or impact on the price of XRP. So we'll go over that as well. I do tend to agree with her, but we're going to get into that. Also, appreciate you guys checking in. Let me do this with the chat here. For sure, happy Generational Wealth Wednesday to each and every one of you. Let's see here. I saw interesting post from my guy Jungle. I'm going to share that as well. That was pretty cool and very nice of him to do that. Maybe we'll get into some numbers from into the cryptoverse. Maybe we'll get into some banter bubbles and see if your altcoin is outperforming Bitcoin at this present moment in time. Is it outperforming for the year? We'll get into that. We'll share that. I think that's hugely important for people to know. Interesting stuff. Just really, really interesting to be early adopter in this new asset classes, the digital asset space. I'm going to share a couple of my guys with you. So remind me to do that. Share a couple of guys that I tuned into. My mentor would say, find some voices of value, right? He would say, find a voice of value, tune in, and stay for a while, is what he would say to me. So I'm going to share a couple of the guys that I do that with for sure. Share that with you guys also. So I'm going to let some people hop on this live stream. And before I get into some stuff, Coinbase, you all know we shared the discovery on the digital assets wallets on Coinbase and what they really are. Careful out there in them streets, fam. Be careful in them streets. In live stream last night, I questioned whether or not Uphold had the same type of user agreement with their vaults or with regular people using Uphold in the wallet. So we got to check. My word on the street is check the user agreements on Uphold and Coinbase, just a regular Coinbase wallet. Check the user agreements there, because it'll speak and or lead to, it could possibly lead to the great taking and what we've been sharing on this channel. I feel like I should post a page or two, a paragraph or two from the great taking on X. I feel like I should do that, Maybe that's the thing that I should do to try to get, you know, get the engagement up over there, because I don't post a lot of my own personal stuff. I do some reposting. I do a lot of liking, comment a little on some stuff, but maybe I should do that. Just kind of begin to just share some of these excerpts from The Great Taking and share those. Maybe that's an idea. You know what I mean? Maybe that's an idea. What's going on, Yosef? How are you, my friend? Colin Hughes is in the building. What is good? It's been a minute, bro. It's been a minute. Appreciate you guys checking in on Generational Wealth Wednesday. Listen, favorite libation right now. I got some of that sparkling water. I got to get to the gym. I got to get some stuff done. I got a lot of stuff to do today for sure. But so what's guys know about Flare Emissions being live, right? You can, Flare Emissions are live. They got participating platforms. Flare Networks is, rewarding, incentivizing these platforms and users. They're incentivizing the platform and the users of these platforms with FLR tokens. They're going to do it for 2 years, July 2024 till July 2026. 2 years of incentives. I found a little bit of a strategy, I believe, to participate in it. So we're going to talk about that. 2 years. They got we're going to go over the FIP09. It's got a little interesting kind of twist to the emissions in terms of claiming, not claiming, or redeeming, not redeeming. It's interesting. Have you guys read the Flare emissions and how they're going to work and how they work? It's interesting how they came to this conclusion and what this conclusion is and how they're going to emit these emissions. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. So we're going to get into that a little bit as well. I deposited some dirty, nasty fiat onto Kraken. I finally remembered to use Kraken instead of Coinbase. Finally, Joseph, finally remembered. So deposited it on the Kraken, and I was waiting for BTC. I was going to do my live stream before I did my BTC purchase, but BTC got under 65. I'm like, I might as well snatch some up now. Might as well snatch some of that stuff up now. I mean, I got enough altcoin positions. The altcoins are going to do what they do. They're either going to bleed against Bitcoin or they're going to do their thing once we get some favorable conditions. Remember, the alt seasons are looking like favorable conditions have to come first in order to realize the alt seasons. So I don't know what happened today with the stage guy that what's his name, Jerome Powell. He's the stage dude, the actor for the Federal Reserve. I don't know what happened today. I don't know if he was hawkish, dovish. I don't matter. I wonder what happened today, because the word on the street is we're going to get some type of cut in September. This is only July. So, he probably just did the basics, boring stuff. You know what I mean? Probably just the boring stuff. So let's get into CoinGecko and go over the market while we let some people hop in. Did you guys see that big red candle on Bitcoin? I mean, it was something. It was something. Let's refresh CoinGecko here. I saw that candle. I was like, holy moly, holy moly. That was a crazy candle. All right. So according to CoinGecko, the total cryptocurrency market cap is down 1.3% in the last 24 hours and is at 2.44 trillion. Bitcoin dominance is 52% according to CoinGecko, which means it's probably 54%. Really? They don't do the best of jobs of tracking the dominance on CoinGecko. Bitcoin is trading at $64,668. I snatched some up at $64,720. So interesting. $64,664 on the 30-day. Bitcoin is up 2.5%. Ethereum is trading at $3,200 roughly on the 30-day. It's down 7%. Solana, look at that, is currently currently trading at $175. We're getting closer to the 60, 160, getting closer. And on the 30-day, Solana's up 19%. XRP, interestingly enough, is trading at 62, almost 63 cents. It's up 31% on the 30-day. I bet you there weren't no swing traders on XRP. I think there's this one guy who's really big on swing trading XRP. I forget his name. Has a YouTube channel, but he's really big on swing trading XRP. He probably was doing that. But other than that, the market's doing what it does. I'm really personally not financial advice, but I'm really excited about the Jupiter Exchange token in the Solana ecosystem. Just personally, I like the team. I like the things that they're doing. I like the ethos. I like their fundamental foundation, for sure. Just personally, that's just me. I staked a little bit of tokens that I guess I was airdropped some for participating in different spots, and I think I put a little money into it, but I like what they got going on right now for sure. It's fairly new, this Jupiter Exchange. So not chasing the game, but I do like what they got going on. I like the people leading this. I like what the DAO is doing. So yeah, so from a Solana ecosystem, I really like what Jupiter is doing for sure. So there are the numbers, fam. The market again is just doing what the market does. So where's this little post from SparkDex? I want to share it with you guys. So SparkDe says this: calling all yield farmers, a bunch of sick APRs just landed on Flare networks. SparkDex is proud to be a part of Flare's emissions program, which offers additional rewards to LP liquidity providers that support the Flare ecosystem DeFi, like SparkDex and Gnosis and Scepter and things like that, right? So we looked at this last night before last. We took a look at SparkDex, and I was like, what's going on over here? They got all the reward APRs, but they're not showing any fees. Like, how are you earning? You guys might have, Joseph, you might have remembered. I was like, well, they're showing these pools and these different fees you can select to enter the pool, which is interesting. Right? You see that? Select the fee tier, 0.1%, 0.5%, 0.3, whatever. And it tells you kind of like the risk reward thing for the full range. Gives you some red bars and some green bars, which I think is interesting. Go safe, gives you higher risk, a little bit higher rewards, common, and expert, right? So I'm thinking, okay, so they got these fee tiers in here. You go to the different farms, and when we moused over these, these particular pools, I'm like, I didn't see any fees, Joseph and Colin. I didn't see any fees. I just saw reward APRs. I'm like, so are they not giving fees for depositing and exiting? What's going on there? And so I said, let me check this morning, see what's good. And lo and behold, now they got the fees in here. Now they got the fees in here. Interesting stuff. Now, they got USD Tether. So you can see the fees here for this particular pool, right? It's 727% currently. The rewards APR is 194%. Interesting, right? Which means it's a total APR 727. So the fees 533%. So we're going to talk strategy. We're going to talk TBL. We're going to talk the fee tier and what that means and how you look to enter into these liquidity pools. Interesting here. So they got all the pools. They got the stable coins. They got blue chips, and they got stable. So they're following along the line. Who does this with the blue chips? Is it Orca? Is it Turbos and the Sui ecosystem? I forget. DeFi Llama might. No. It's what is that thing that I use? Goodness gracious, can't remember the name of it. not revert, not revert. Oh, MG. I use the thing all the time. I can't remember what it is. But it mentions the blue chips as well. Anyway, I'll find it. I'll have to go to my thing. I'll remember what it is. But in any case, there they are. Fees are on here. Now they got the fees APR on here as well, not just the rewards. I'm like, what the world? Not just the rewards. That won't help. That won't help. Just the rewards. So yeah. So they got the fees APR in there. That's what you want. You want the fees APR, right? If you're a liquidity provider, you get fees APR for people who enter. You get fees APR for people who exit. This is what you want, right? This is what you want. Now it's going to drive me crazy if I can't remember what the name of this platform is. What is the name of this thing? Yowzer. Let me see some. It's not VFAT. It's, goodness gracious, what is the name of this thing? I can't remember. Platform that I use to track the different liquidity pools. Not beefy, not turbos. It's a nice tool. Oh my God. Anyway, let me find that because it's driving me crazy now. Bookmarks. There's nothing there. What's going on here? But it's a tool that I use all the time, and I can't believe I can't find that right now. But they have these blue chip pools on there as well. What is the name of this thing? It's driving me crazy. Forgive me while I find, oh, Crystal, my land. Crystal. KRYSTAL. Has the blue chips on there as well. But anyway, interesting APRs. You know, these things kind of go up and kind of go down based upon people participating. Just understand that. But it's interesting that they got this. Now, remember, flares emissions last for 2 years. So these rewards, that's the flare emissions, 193%. Okay, just understand that. So got a bunch of liquidity, got a bunch of farming here opportunities. USDT WFLR, interesting. So they got Tether as the foundation or base asset with WFLR. They got WFLR as the base asset with USDC.E. And I don't know which one is that. Ethereum's USDC. Whose USDC is that? I don't know. But you can probably just swap into it. Wrap Flare again with USDX. 2 stablecoin pairs, USDX and USDCE. Then they got USDT and USDE. And then they got Scepter Flare, which is, S Flare, Staked Flare, Scepter FLR, which is Staked Flare, and Wrap FLR. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to share my strategy and kind of what I'm going to do in terms of earning emissions here. But again, it is good to see they got the freaking fees APR on here. It's good to see that. It's good to see that. Let me go back to the chat, and I'm going to go over some Crypto X stuff with you guys real quick. Eric G is in the building. What's going on, my guy? Crystal. Sorry it took me so long to find that. I don't know why I couldn't remember freaking Crystal. But anyway, it's one of the tools that we use in the Patreon for DeFi positions. Eric G's in the building. What's going on, my guy? How are you? Good to see you. Colin says, so if you put some flare into one of these liquidity pools, do you get the flare drops on top of the percentage offered? Depends on which flare you use in the liquidity pool. And we're going to get into that as well. It's got to be the right flare. Remember, it's got to be the right flare to do that. That's part of the strategy. Part of the strategy. right? Part of the strategy. So, but the interesting thing is we're gonna after I go over some of the stuff on here on X, we're gonna go over the flare emissions because the flare emissions is kind of set up for a way. Essentially, it's set up in a way that they don't want you coming in there and just what I used to do was affectionately termed farming. Like you're in there, you're one of the farming degens, you go to these different platforms just to farm tokens so that you can, dump the tokens or swap them into some other preferred token. And Flare Networks is trying to avoid the farmers that are going to come in and try to do some stuff. So, which is smart for sure. So we're going to go over the emissions and their little strategy for trying to prevent the farmers from coming. We're going to go into that. We're going to discuss that a little bit. Colin Hughes says, I wonder if Ripple's new stablecoin will be a pair with FLR. I would say probably not, because they have their own stable. Flare has their own stable coin. But I would say probably not. We'll see. We'll see. Flare has the, that they hooked up and got the USDX thing. So I would say probably not, but the right flare, I thought, Colin says the right flare? I thought there was only one flare unless it's wrapped to become WFLR. Well, that's the difference, right? That's the difference. FLR sitting out there hanging out on his own is not eligible for flare drops. Right? It has to be wrapped. Has to be wrapped. But there's also another thing as well. Different platforms that you use to say stake your FLR will be eligible for flare drops also. So just understand that. So, and we're going to go over that strategy as well. So, but the bottom foundational thing is it's got to be a wrapped FLR in the form of wrapped FLR to earn the flare drops. If it's just FLR, just hanging out there and it's not staked somewhere that is going to still earn the flare drops, then it's not earning. But there is a platform that you can use and turn your flare and you can turn it into SFLR. And that becomes eligible for flare drops as well. So, but we'll get into that for sure. Let's go over some of this crypto X stuff here real quick. Did I cover this already? I think so. So Andrew put this out, says update, Goldman Sachs public pivot on Bitcoin via the CEO, David Solomon, on CNBC this morning. This was yesterday. Bitcoin has a legitimate case as a store of value. It's interesting. Look, interesting. Us native to this space understand it. I'm not doing anything with Goldman. I'm not doing ETFs and all that kind of stuff like that. Anyway, interesting to see that Goldman Sachs has pivoted on Bitcoin. Bitcoin has a legitimate case as a store of value. It's interesting to me. All right, so SparkDex V3 is launched, swaps, farms, sky high APRs. Yeah, we're gonna educate some folks a little bit about the idea of APRs because you got to be careful there. You got to be careful. We'll share that in a second. So Crypto X Steve the Bull Dia put this out. It's been a minute.
Back to the Crypto Labs YouTube channel.
It's been a minute, and I think I've said this on the channel before, Colin. I think that JackMcDonald has a big time value add to the Ripple team, and it's going to be fascinating to see his journey here and what he's going to bring. I think it's he's an experienced CEO guy, and a lot of TradFi institutional relationships. So it's going to be interesting to see here. So I'm gonna play this video here. But Stephen the Bull DF says this: Ripple is teaming up with Clearbank and Zero Hash and more to create a groundbreaking ecosystem for the Ripple stablecoin. Launching on the XRPL ledger or the XRP ledger and Ethereum. Just take a listen here real quick to Jack McDonald.
What What do you plan to do over the, say, next 30, 60, 90 days to define a plan for your new path? A lot of work to be done, locking up banking partners, critical, and also just other service providers in the industry. You know, you really can't go it alone. And we try to stick to our lane, and obviously we're going to seek approval to issue a stable coin. We're going to do that on the XRPL ledger in addition to Ethereum. So excited about that. But that really begets a whole host of other service providers that we need on the banking side.
By the way, why do you think they're going to do it on Ethereum? Why the ledger and Ethereum? It's because that's where the liquidity is. All liquidity is over there, right? And how do you get liquidity? You get a bunch of users. You get people participating. You create network adoption. Where there's liquidity is where you want to go. This is the challenge that the XRP ledger faces. That's the goal, to create participation by way of network adoption, create these daily active users, to create a thriving blockchain.
For transaction on and off ramps, for reserve banking, someone to manage the reserves. There's a lot of compliance needs. We've been talking to the folks at Zero Hash and others. And so part of it's just bringing that A team of providers, monthly attestations from the accounting firms. So there's kind of an internal and an external swim lane, if you will, that needs to come together. And also understanding, you know, where the use cases are and where our real value exchange can be differentiated, because there are obviously some established players. We think we've got some unique needs within the Ripple community right now, that we've been listening to our customers who have been asking for, you know, certain attributes to a stable coin that we're targeted towards building. So a lot of exciting considerations going on right now, and a lot of work being done really on all those fronts.
I like this dude. I like Jack. Smart move to put him in lead, put him as the lead guy in this initiative for adoption of Ripple stablecoin. I think it's going to fare very, very, very well. I really, really do. We'll see, but that's kind of where I am with Jack for sure. Here's one of my guys. You know, when mentor says find a voice of value, tune in and stay for a while. This is one of the guys here. It's Fred Krueger at Krueger. If you're interested in kind of, you know, popping your head outside that XRP bubble, and, you know, if you're interested in taking a look around, see what else is kind of going on, this is a good guy, smart guy, successful before he got to the space, and got the background in math, and just kind of known now on X as the power law guy, although he didn't essentially create it. He did take it and kind of make it his own, if you will, and expound on it a little bit different than Giovanni. But yeah, good guy to perhaps, you know, kind of level up a little bit and get a different perspective on this space as well. Fred Krueger there at Krueger, DOT Krueger, all lowercase. Really interesting, smart guy, I think. The Kabasi, is it the Kabasi letter? Justin, high cost of living has been the most important financial problem for U.S. families for the third year in a row. You don't say. In 2024, a record 41% of surveyed Americans claimed that the high cost of living / inflation is their largest financial issue. This is up from the previous all-time high of 35% in 2023, according to Gallup. Interesting. Additionally, high cost of owning or renting a home has been the second largest financial issue at 14%. Well, that's just kind of sums up everything. The cost of living plus the cost of a domicile, having some kind of shelter. Number one and number two. Boy, to put this into perspective, even during the 2008 financial crisis, just 18% of Americans saw high cost of living as their number one problem. Wow. Wow. Many Americans can no longer afford basic necessities. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. That's interesting stuff right there. So Rachel, I think it's Rachel, said this. It's interesting about XRP and this lawsuit, SEC versus Ripple at the moment. She says, I hate to be the one to say it, but I do not think the final Ripple SEC Taurus event will do anything for the price of XRP. Here is why. Number one, it is simply the details on how Ripple will be punished for the few minor indiscretions committed. Number two, the point at which clarity was decided would have been the time to see it move upward in a big way. In other words, when that ruling came out that XRP in and of itself is not a security, we should have saw the bang then or the uptick then. And she says it did not. Institutions only needed to hear it was legal now to buy, hold, and use. That already happened. They do not need to hear or if Ripple will be punished for a few early sales of XRP. All my opinion, I do agree a minor bump in price may happen, but this will not be the moonshot. Again, my opinion. She goes on to say, what will move XRP? I think news and announcements of global players that show the use case and proof it's in play. Players like Bank of America and other large-scale institutions. And I got to say, I agree with her 100% here on this whole thing. I really, really do. I would add that the asset XRP is going to participate in a bull run unhinged like it was, kind of locked up, unlike how it was locked up in the 2021 run. It's kind of locked up there, right? But now it's not, right? A lot more access, 7, 8, 10 times more access than before. So in this normal bull run, if we get it, if market conditions align, and I'm talking about the crazy bull run, not the little thing we got going on now where Bitcoin is leading the charge. I'm talking about the crazy thing where altcoins, Bitcoin and altcoins flip, and the altcoins kind of go crazy in terms of dominance. So. But I also agree with her as well. That's just why we say, RippleNet's coming on the XRP ledger. So is Liquidity Hub. So is ODL. We're going to be able to see those numbers, which means that, we're going to be able to see who's using ODL. What's those numbers look like? What does RippleNet and players look like? What are they doing on RippleNet? That kind of stuff. I don't know if we're going to get a Bank of America announcement. I really don't. But it will participate. My belief, it will participate in, just like Matic will be able to participate if we get the alt season, just like Hedera, Hashgraph, and Algorand, and Cardano. Again, because the exposure is there. People in Japan and other places, will be able to get to their exchanges and get it. Right. So it'll be able to participate in that way. The challenge will be, I think, that the 2017, 2018 bull run, in my opinion, Colin, is different. That market was different than it is today. And what I mean by that is there's significantly more places for retail to come into and put their dollars than it was in 2017 and 2018. But there's significantly more places for them to, Mantra wasn't around, ZK Sync wasn't around, Mantle wasn't around, Near Protocol wasn't around, just to name a few. So we'll see if a token in an ecosystem that has been in the top 10 from its inception will be able to garner some of that retail dollars into its ecosystem. That's what we have to wait and see. All right, so I shared that here. Let me go to the chat. Guys, do me a favor, hit that like button. That'd be super, super cool. We always like to have just as many likes as we have viewers in the stream, that'd be super awesome if you guys can do that. It helps to get the channel out to more people who are unaware of this new financial system being built right underneath their noses. They don't know that a potential harming CBDC is in the loop in play. They don't know about the debasement of their currency. They're trying to figure it out. They don't know. They have a hint about inflation, but they really don't understand it. They don't know that there's an answer to it in the form of the digital asset space, right? So okay. Colin says, I disagree with her too, Siege. Okay, gotcha. XRP will rise with expansion in the Russell 2000, and the XRP price will rise with utility when the banks can hold crypto. When SOB 212 gets passed through Congress, yeah, but the challenge with the SOB getting passed is it's not all the banks, it's only a few of the banks. And the challenge is that those banks, in my opinion, are not crypto friendly, especially to XRP. Remember, XRP is the disruptor to the cash cow. Right? It's the disruptor to the cash cow, right? So I think the crypto that banks are going to be holding is going to be stable coins. I don't think it's going to be and or a CBDC, maybe if we get one, So well, the CBDC is going to be from central banks. Stable coins can be from private issuers. That's the biggest difference. And I would imagine with a CBDC with this programmability element to it, not a great look. Not a great look. The biggest thing that I could offer anyone trying to figure out this whole CBDC stablecoin thing is central bank digital currencies comes with the central bank part of it that is the biggest challenge. Remember, the Federal Reserve System and the Federal Reserve Act that came about in 1913 was the beginning of the demise of citizens and their currency. That was the beginning of separating or stealing the value of the currency. It all comes from the central bankers in collusion with their governments. So that is the difference. No, the stable coins are not programmable. It's just a stable coin. It's just a simple backing. Well, when you say, since it's an issuer of the stable coin, right? The issue of the stable coin, for example, can say, yeah, we're going to add 4% here. But the central bank, right? It's not the issue. It's the premise of the central bank, right? The premise of the central bank is to rob its citizens. That's not what the stable coins are. So everything about the central banking system is to steal from the citizens, right? They created the debasement. They created this inflation. They created the idea of let us figure out how to create fiscal and monetary policy. They did that, which is the private central banks that are being privately held. That is the deal, that are privately owned, I should say. That is the issue. Depends. Yeah. There's a difference between if something is frozen because of activity as opposed to the idea of it being created is to steal from you. The idea of a central bank digital currency is to steal from citizens. Not to add value, it's to steal because it's part of the fiat system that the central banks created. Ultimately, that's the deal. Never mind the whole surveillance and all that other kind of stuff that's going to come with the central banks. But in order to understand that, you really got to understand the history of the central banks. You got to understand the hoodwink and the bamboozle that they pulled over on Congress in the wee hours of the evening. You got to understand that. You got to really get to the heart of the central banking system. That is the issue. I'm just thinking how Ripple's stablecoin would be okay with the law. Well, they're going to do all that regulatory stuff. They're going to, they got the compliant and the regulatory stuff to it. They got that for sure. So they're going to, they're going to go by, I don't know how much they're going to fall in line in terms of what Circle did with its stablecoin, but they're going to have all the compliance and all that stuff to it for sure. For sure. And people are going to hold stable coins over central bank digital currencies. That's without question. They're going to hold stables over central bank digital currencies. For me, the stable coin is just a way to park some stuff for a while until I figure out, which assets I want to hold. But yeah, they're going to have clawbacks without question. They're going to do whatever. I don't know if it's OFAC. I don't know if it's whoever's setting up these guidelines for these stable coins. Ripple is going to have that because their main clients will have to comply with those, sort of sanctions, the anti-money laundering, all of those abilities are going to be there with that stable coin. All of that. The challenge with the central banks is no one has they're not beholden to anyone. The central bank and the Federal Reserve System is not beholden to anyone. They're not beholden to Congress. They set it up that way. The central banks did. They pulled a little hoodwink. And again, in the wee hours in the morning, late night hours. So that is really the kind of the main issue with anything with the central banks. It's in their digital currency. Nothing about it is for the people. That's the biggest deal. What's going on, Michael Marchese? In my view, in my opinion, but that's from my homework and doing my research and, doing the reading and that kind of deal. What's going on, yo, from Myrtle Beach? What's going on, Michael? How are you, my friend? Nick Bellissimo said, Bellissimo. What's going on, Nick? Great show. I am looking at the FLR chart and looks like it may bottom out soon. Thoughts? Bottom out? Wow. I don't know what you mean. You mean level off instead of keep going down? I don't know. I just think that the FLR token is a big time value add. Personally, I feel like it's a great hold. Yep, it could, Michael Marchese. Bitcoin on the Treasury changes the Fed Reserve's dominance. Yep, certainly can. It's a disruptor. It's a disruptor to the Fed model without question. And oh, by the way, just another thing that I think is important too, in my view, that the stablecoin brings is the stablecoins are different than the central banking system. The central banking system has fractional reserve lending in it. Stablecoins will not. The stablecoins come with this one-to-one backing to it. So it takes away from the fractional reserve lending that the central banks want to continue to participate in. Certainly their central bank digital currency will be participating in that. And that's a big deal. Yeah, Colin, that's the thing that I've been saying. Colin says it will be interesting to see what will be the incentive for everyone to start using the Ripple dollar coin. And when you say everybody, there's two groups, in my opinion. It's Ripple's customers, and then there's the digital asset space. So that, to me, is going to be the big deal. What is Ripple X going to come up to get their customers to use a stablecoin, to use Ripple stablecoin as opposed to Tether and or USDC? And what are they going to do? What is Ripple X going to do to incentivize the low-hanging fruit, which is crypto people, to use their stablecoin? gonna be interesting to see what they come up with. Fire Tiger says they won't have to do much. Trust is a real thing. You mean between them and their customers, right? Because Ripple doesn't have any established trust with crypto. So you're talking about the trust that they have with their customers? Fire Tiger. Dakota Shipley is in the building. OMG. 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 Right. We trust Ripple, right? So here's what I'll say as an XRP holder since 2017. If Ripple launches a stable coin without an incentive to use it, I won't be using it. It has to have an incentive to use the stablecoin. This is 2024. You got to have some kind of, right? So let's say that they match it up into a liquidity pool. Well, tell me about the incentive to use that and participate in that liquidity pool. What's the incentive? Right? What's the incentive? What is that going to look like? I mean, my land right now, Flare is offering a incentive to use their stablecoin. Like, what's the incentive? Right? What's the incentive? You're right. There's this market share out there, right? With stable coins, a lot of stable coins, right? What's the incentive for me to use that as opposed to Circles USDC, right? What if they coming out in these liquidity pools and it's 1%? That's not enough. Fire Tiger says the incentive is peace of mind. I hear you. Not for me. It's not for me. I feel comfortable with USDC. All right. And I know I can enter into and hold USDC and enter into liquidity pools where I can earn money for holding USDC. And that's what I want to see from the Ripple stablecoin. I want to see an incentive to use it, to hold it. Yeah. And part of that is going to be the liquidity pool, right? That XRP, Ripple USD, cool. Tell me about the incentive program you got going on. I can't. Tell me about it, right? Because that's a pool that puts the XRP at risk, right? There's opportunity costs there, right? There's opportunity costs. Because Ripple has an incentive, they're going to be setting themselves up, right? They're going to be setting themselves up, right? They're going to be doing a thing with the treasuries and the T-bills and the bonds. They're going to be setting themselves up, right? They're going to be pulling a little bit of the Maker DAO ethos, right? It's going to be a revenue stream for Ripple. A revenue stream, and it can be a pretty significant one. But what about the digital asset holder? What's their incentive to use it? That's going to be the key. Nick says, I meant Flare will level off and then start rising again. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, a lot of digital assets are going to do that for sure. I don't know when though. Some people are hoping for a less than 1 cent deal. I'm getting FLR today for sure. But I was going to get it just to participate on in the SparkDex and the Scepter thing. Yeah, that's right. Fire Tiger. I see what you mean. There has to be an incentive into holding something stable. Yeah, absolutely. Especially considering the season we're in, right? Especially considering the season that we're in. Yeah, right. They're launching this. Looks like it's going to be sometime Q4, right? Of this year of 2024. Well, that's going to be right in that beginning of the banana zone, as Raoul Paul likes to say. It could be very much in the beginning of seeing the flipping in dominance between alts and Bitcoin. right? Ripple has to create network adoption of the XRPL. And in order to do that, they're going to have to come up with a liquidity incentive event that gets people to participate on the XRPL in liquidity pools, in the borrowing and lending protocols. Ripple X is going to have to come up with that. Otherwise, people are going to just hang out where they are. They'll hang out in layer twos on Ethereum. They'll hang out in other ecosystems that are incentivizing them, retail, to participate there. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Nick says, I can't see a sub 1 cent again for FLR. I hear you, my friend. I know. I know. Right. Look, there's something about those flare drops that's just massively enticing. Doesn't it feel like taking your dirty, nasty fiat, getting FLR tokens and wrapping them or staking them with Scepter, and getting those flare drops, more and more of those flare drops? It feels like a great exchange for dirty, nasty fiat, doesn't it? You still get the Wind Moon. It's not like you're losing the Wind Moon that happens during a bull run. You're still getting that as well. I mean, just think about that. It just feels like it's worth the money. I'm not telling you guys what to do. I'm just saying it just feels like it. It just feels like it. Price prediction. I don't know. Who asked about the price prediction? Colin says, do you have a price prediction for Flare Siege in this bull run? I don't. It's hard to say. It's really, really hard to say. So I don't have no clue what it could possibly be. I really don't. Nick says you're absolutely right. Flare is a behemoth. Yeah. So there it is there, right? So a little back and forth. I appreciate you guys commenting in the chat. That's always super cool. So Flare emissions. This is interesting. I'm going to read a little bit of this. This is interesting, Nick. These Flare emissions is interesting. It's very, very interesting, these Flare emissions. So let's go over it real quick. Because I'm still a little bit up in the air on my strategy, but I think I have it down. I think I have my strategy down. All right. So here's the Flare governance proposal. Here's the thing about the emissions, right? All that stuff. We don't really need to know all of this, but there's a committee, and they're setting up, made up of 3 or 4 people, including Hugo. It looks like 5 or 6 people, including Hugo. This committee is basically, what are we going to do with these emissions? It's basically, they call it emissions. It's basically rewards for people participating in the ecosystem. There's some frequently asked questions. What distribution mechanisms are being considered, and how would a vested distribution schedule for FLR work? Flare has worked with tokenomics design to determine the most efficient way to distribute the FLR emissions and maximize community participation. Okay, awesome. Schedule will be deployed involving a linear vesting schedule whereby monthly emissions will be redeemable on a timed locked basis. According to the schedule, each of the unique monthly emissions distributions will be unlocked for users to redeem in equally sized tranches over a total period of 12 months. Therefore, the total length of the program from the emissions to the final month of claiming is projected to run for 24 months. Users may redeem the maximum amount of any portion of a month's allocated distribution immediately after receipt. Although doing so, and this is the thing that's a little on the confusing part, because it's a little confusing. Because they're saying you get these emissions every month, and they're immediately available to redeem. But if you do redeem them immediately, you get a 50% penalty for doing it. but it doesn't really go into detail how you avoid the 50% penalty. So anyway, users may redeem the maximum amount of any portion of a month's allocated FLR distribution immediately after receipt, although doing so will incur a redemption penalty for that month's earned emissions. So if you earn some emissions and you redeem them immediately, you get a 50% penalty. But what if you don't redeem them immediately? My guess is what they're saying is if you wait 30 days to redeem, then I guess then there's no penalty, but it doesn't say it here. Portions of awarded emissions claimed from DApps will begin to accrue flare drop rewards proportional to claim amounts. The distribution mechanism is designed to smooth rewards, maintain user participation, and help to mitigate any adverse token dynamics that could result from monthly emission distributions in full. All right, so let's see if we can get this question answered. When would I receive my FLR emissions and how can I claim them? Flare emissions will be made available for users on a monthly basis by the participating DApps, monthly basis. Each month, qualifying DApps can award these emissions to users in proportion to their use of protocols according to qualifying actions and parameters. Parameters will be set and communicated at the discretion of the decentralized apps. So Scepter might have some parameters for how they provide these emissions that have been awarded to them from Flare Network. So this emissions committee. And SparkDex might have a different set of parameters. Parameters will be set and communicated at the discretion of the DApps. Which means you're going to have to ask in a Discord or a Telegram or an X, how are you guys getting these emissions that Flare has given to you for active users? How are you getting those out? It says here, DApps will have a grace period of 1 extra month to distribute allocated rewards for any given month, at which points the rewards for the given month for that particular decentralized app may be revoked by the committee. Okay, so in other words, they got 30 days to get your stuff to you. Users may redeem FLR emissions by using new functionality for emissions to be added to the Flare portal after claiming, and be sure to complete their final redemption before the end of the program, which is projected to finish 24 months after its launch on July 6, 2024. But this doesn't answer the question. If I earn rewards in August 1st, and I see the rewards, I don't know if it's going to come the 1st or the 31st, but in August, and I immediately claim I'm going to get 50% less, and it's going to be a 50% penalty. But what if I don't do it immediately? What does immediately look like? If I don't do it immediately, what if I redeem 30 days, 21 days, 29 days later? What happens then? What is immediately? What's that definition? What does that look like? It looks like to me that since the things are on a month-to-month basis, if you see your reward, I don't know what that looks like. It doesn't really specify that. That's the thing that I'm a little confused on. How will I know how much FLR and how much FLR I have, and how do I wrap and delegate it? All right, so Flare emissions eligibility and quantity will be visible on the Flare portal. To connect to the portal using the same wallet address you used to participate, in the DApps on Flare mainnet. The portal may be used to claim emissions, at which point Flare drop rewards will begin to accrue. So this is the other part that's a little confusing. How will the rewards begin to accrue if I claim the emission? don't I have to wrap it some way? Or is it coming in wrapped form? Are the emissions coming in a wrapped form? Now I ask that question. We'll see if they answer it. The portal may be used to redeem emissions for flare, whereby the full amount of flare may be redeemed with a 50% penalty according to the elapsed time of the linear 12-month vesting schedule. So from reading that, it seems like they don't want you to. You can, but they don't want you to. And I get why they don't want you to. Again, they don't want people coming here and just farming these tokens and then cashing them out. So it feels like this penalty, it says be redeemed with a 50% penalty according to the elapsed time. So I guess if you earn emissions in August and you don't claim them in September and you don't claim them in October and you don't claim them until November, it might not be 50%, but it's still going to be some type of penalty, I guess. If you claim them in the same month, it's a 50%, right? You get August emissions, you claim them in August, 50% haircut. Now we're off to September. In September, you're going to get some emissions. What are you going to do with them? You know, that type of deal, I guess is what it's looking like to me. It looks like to me, in order to not get this penalty, you just wait, you get your emissions and you just wait. But here's the challenge. If you're waiting to avoid the 50% thing, how are you getting the flare drops? You understand? It says the portal may be used to claim emissions, and at which point flare drop rewards will begin to accrue. So again, that is confusing to me. All right, let's see if I did a little thing here. Let's see if they responded. Doesn't look like they responded. But I did ask about the emissions thing. So let me get to the chat. What are you guys reading or getting out of that? More monkey businesses in the building. What's going on, my guy? No such thing as risk. Well, there's one pool, Fire Tiger. Fire Tiger asks, are the pools risk-free, though? First thing I'll say is no pool is risk-free, right? The least amount of risk would come with smart contract risk, platform risk, right? And these pools, every pool, it doesn't matter what it is, comes with a smart contract risk and a platform risk, right? Every pool. In other words, is there some bug that they don't know about and we don't know about? Is the platform that's got this liquidity pool going to rug pool, right? So those are two of the everything. Every pool has that risk. Let's say that smart contract checked all the boxes, no bugs. Let's say that this is a legitimate project, been around for forever years. Trust, you met the devs, you met the fam, you met the people, you feel safe there. Then you got to check the liquidity pool and the pairs, the assets in the liquidity pool to determine whether or not those are pools that can incur impermanent loss slant opportunity costs, which I like to call them. Opportunity costs, right? So, and I'll share with you guys what that looks like. Colin Hughes says, so if you redeem every month, you lose 50%. That's what it feels like. But in order to get the flare drops, you have to claim the emissions. So that you now have, you see what I'm saying? That looks kind of, I'm trying to figure that part out. Are you making a financial decision that the 50% penalty is worth it because now that emissions that you got is now eligible for flare drops, right? Because you're increasing the size of your FLR that's wrapped or staked. You have an opportunity to increase the size of your FLR that is wrapped or staked. So, but that sentence in there says when you claim the emissions, you begin to get these accrue flare drops. So I'm trying to figure out how is that dynamic working? Because my understanding of flare drops is you have to have at least wrapped those FLR tokens, or you can use Scepter. You can take FLR and stake it there, and those S-Flare tokens are eligible for the flare drop. So that's kind of, that kind of deal. What's going on, more monkey business? So that's the kind of thing that I'm still a little confused on how that is going to work. But it's clearly they want to disincentivize people from coming in there and being a farming degen and just farming the tokens and cashing them out. Nick says, I think the FLR will remain locked for a period of time, kind of like what's happening with Jewel and KII. Yeah, but it's saying that you can claim them immediately if you want to with a penalty. My thing is, if you don't claim, like what do you do to not incur the penalty? Is it waiting 30 days? Or is it waiting 12 months? That's the thing that I'm trying to figure out. Is it 30 days or is it 12 months? And in addition to that, how are these emissions eligible for flare drops? That's what the thing is saying. The thing is saying when you claim, they become eligible for flare drops. So my thing is, are these emissions in the form of wrapped FLR? Or do you have to take a step after you claim, which is to wrap the FLRs or stake them with Scepter? That's the thing that's a little confusing. And I didn't DM Flare Networks. I just asked in a post that they put out about the emissions to kind of find that out. But let's get to the platform SparkDe, and let me share my view and somewhat of my strategy that I will look to deploy for flare emissions. This is kind of where I hang out. I like hanging out in pools and providing liquidity and earning and doing the DeFi thing. That's my wheelhouse. I love doing earning cash flow, doing that kind of stuff. So let's go over here. Let's go over to SparkDe here real quick. These are the liquidity pools over here. I mean, it says pools here and it's farms. So we can double side or single deposit here, which is interesting. Got some fee tiers here, 0.01%, 0.05, 0.31%. The higher these numbers, the more you get as a liquidity provider for people coming into the pool that you're in and for people exiting the pool that you're in. I wouldn't do single deposit. I would do double-sided, and I would just identify the farm that I want to get into and then just swap it using their swap. So anyway, here's the farms, right? Let's just take a look at this first one. Look at that. Look how fast these things. I mean, they're changing super. This was just one of these was just 700%. Now it's down to 297%. And they're going to change. They're going to go up and down depending upon the people entering them. Interesting here. Very, very, very interesting. All right. So let's take a look. I'm going to mouse over the first one here. It says up to 345% APR, right? Fees APR is 46.66%. The rewards APR is 298% for a total of 345%. Now, most people are going to run, unfortunately, they're going to run to the highest APR. That usually is a big mistake. The first thing I would highly recommend you guys look at is the liquidity pairs. Are these liquidity tokens something that you would be good in owning in either direction? What I mean by that, would you be good with owning wrapped FLR if the pool goes in one direction? And would you be good with owning this USDC.E if the pool goes in the other direction? Would you be good with that? Would you be good with Tether and wrapped Flare? Would you be good with wrapped Flare and USDX? Would you be good with USDX and USDC and USDT and USDC.E, right? Those are the questions. That's the first question. The next thing to consider, in my humble opinion, is the TVL, right? Because you're earning fees based upon people coming in and out of the thing there, right? So the total value lock is the liquidity in the thing. This is 163,000. We got 120,000. We got 160,000, 133,000. And we got one at 457,000 and another one at 793,000. Now, I don't enter liquidity pools unless it's TVL is $1 million or more. So none of these are $1 million. So that's just me. But a good start is 250K in my humble opinion. 250K is a good starting thing. The other thing to consider is the fee tier. So let's see what's going on here. .01% for this one, 0.05% for that one, 0.3% for that one, 1% for that one. $14,000, 1%. See something here. Okay. So it's interesting the way they got this set up here. 14,000, 11,000, 52,000. 3.8 TVL. I was wondering why they got them set up that way. .01%. So it's interesting. Let me go back here to these farms. So this is all the pools, total TVL. And these are all the pools, total TVL for this particular pair. So what I was looking at, my strategy is going to be in the pool with FLR, SFLR, and WFLR. This is what I'm going to do. Most likely, I'm 95% certain I'm going here. But most people say, well, wait a minute, that's the lowest APR, right? It's the lowest APR, right? So it's the lowest APR. And let me see something here about these fees here. What we got? 0.01, 0.05, 0.3, 1%. Okay, perfect. So this is the one I would look to get into one of these pools, right? The wrap flare and the SFLR flare. Those are the ones that I would look to get into. And fees, no fees. Let me see something. 8% fee here for in and out. Now notice here on this one, it says 0% APR. Fees APR, 0%. It's rewards only if you enter in that one. Okay, so this looks like SparkDe is setting up these liquidity pools. And then this one here is 0.3%, 91,000 in TVL, still low numbers. Its fees is 8%, which means people coming in, people exiting. You get, as a liquidity provider, you get some stuff for doing that there. Your daily rewards and FLR are the same. So you want to enter into one where, right, where you get rewarded for people coming in and out of the liquidity pool. And this one here Second from the bottom, you get it. For this one here on the bottom, it's not showing any fees. It's just showing just rewards. Okay. So 0.3%, that would probably be the one that I would enter into. The TBL is not great. 91,000. It's just not great. 0.05% here. So 0.3, good. I'm earning fees for people entering and exiting. Cool. It's just numbers is just low. This 0.05, it has a higher TVL of 102,000. And it's a big difference between 0.05 and 0.3. So you just got to factor that in as well. 12,000 difference in TV9. Yeah, about 12,000 difference. So you got to factor that in as well. Don't see the 24-hour volume. That would be nice if you could see that. So let me see what it says here. What we got going on here? Why did that do that? All right, so add. No, it doesn't tell you anything on the 24-hour volume. Maybe because it hasn't been 24 hours yet. Rewards are calculated for the time you provided liquidity for. Your rewards will be available to claim at the end of every epoch. So this would probably be the one that I would enter into here. I would probably go with the higher fee tier, 0.3%, that I'm going to earn fees for participating for people entering and exiting the pool. Remember, this is just starting. These numbers will go up and down depending upon the participation, right? So the TVL could go up dramatically depending upon the participation. 0.01 is not enough. They're about the same in TVL. So I would take the higher T here, 0.3%, and be early. I would look at it as being early to this pool here. And you know, more and more people come in, US liquidity to get to benefit from that. Now, the other reason why I'm choosing the pool, this one here, is because the impermanent loss slant opportunity costs are what's that word? You know what I mean? Negligible. I don't even know how to say it. Negligible, right? This is the same tokens, right? FLR and WFLR, they're the same thing, right? So you don't have to worry about the correlation, you know, changing, if you understand, right? You don't have to worry about that correlation changing, right? So it's the same token. So that would be the other reason why I would enter it and I would gather. And I gather, friend is calling me, and I gather that that's why this the biggest number in the total APRs there. So let me hit this again. Let me hit this again. Let me see something here. See what it takes you to here. Now I was saying here, saying select the T here, like I would do this 0.3% one. And efficiency comparison, which is great that they have that. Full range positions may earn less fees than concentrated positions learn more. Well, it's not may, they will, right? Depending upon how you set your thing up. But this is the typical pools where you do 50% in one asset, 50% in the other one, which is pretty standard, right? Then you can do safe, and they set the ranges for you here. So they set the price ranges for you. Now, it's FLR and FLR, so it's not going to really matter. If it's FLR, I mean, I think the SFLR tends to change. Like, wasn't the FLR a little bit of a different price than the FLR? I think so. I think so. I think someone was telling me there was something about the SFLR, why there was a little bit higher in price than the FLR. Because it's the same with Solana. In Solana, there's something called MSOR, Marinade SOL, Marinade Solana, and regular Solana. And it happens to be a little bit difference in the price for the Marinade Solana, which is interesting. So maybe the SFLR is that. But if I was to get into one, it would be the SFLR and the wrap FLR for sure. That would be the one that I would enter into. And what you could do, where is it? What you could do is just do safe, right? Right now, more risk, a little bit more risk than full range, but a little bit more rewards as well. Remember, tokens are essentially the same. So, what do I have here? FLR, SFLR in terms of the price. Says approve. I'm not doing anything here. Can you still set the range? Oh, you can still set your range. So you can set your own price ranges. I thought it was set up for you. So you can set it up. You can do it yourself. And you would price it. Can you change this? Nope. You look at the price of FLR and you can set your ranges, which is what I do. I set the range here, but it's interesting that they're saying safe, but you can set your own ranges here. Common. 87 cents to $1.68. So we have to figure out what the SFLR prices are. But let me change this because that's not the pool, which is interesting to hear. They got those aren't the tokens, right? The token is SFLR and WFLR. Okay, so there it is. You have to select the tokens there. I thought when you clicked from the previous page, it would just take those two tokens, but it did not. So it's FLR and wrap FLR. Select the strategy, it's manual. Select the fee pair, it's 0.3%. Oh, interesting. They got a little thing here. They're showing you the amount of people have selected which T fare, which is interesting. Which fee tier. 23% took the 0.3, 26% took the 0.05, and 1% and 29% took the 1%. But when I looked at the farm pool, the 1% was not earning any fees, or at least it's showing that it's not earning any fees. So anyway, so I'm still trying to figure out because the FLR token is less than a penny here. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on here with this. Yeah. I guess you have to put your prices in. Let me try and put a price in. Let's see what happens. They need to get a, it would be nice if they got a chart on here as well, where you can check the prices out, because you got to check where stuff is kind of trending. Let's go here, trading view. So it's 0173 right now, currently. It's the 1 hour chart. Let's see if I can put this on daily. Okay. You like to be trending sideways and up. But again, you're going to be earning FLR or SFLR, right? That's what you're going to be earning in here. So, but that's still, what was the price? 01. 02. So 009. Let's do that. Let's see what happens. Let's see. Something like that. What we got? Risk, profit. So they're saying that's pretty good. $0.02. Let me see if I change this up. Yeah, I don't want to do that. So 009 to 0.02. Something like that is what I would do. And yeah, I know. So you can still set the price. So this is pretty good. So current pool stats, 38% APR. So this is good. SparkDex does a really good job here. 30%, it says FLR rewards, 8% in fees for a total of 38%. So yeah, this would be the pool that that I would enter into. Let me put this on expert and see what happens when I put numbers in here. 009. Is that right? Yes. 2%. All right. I would do something like that, maybe 2.5, somewhere around there. That's what I would do. But I just want to see the difference there. But so SparkDex did a pretty good job. I gotta admit, Colin, they did a pretty good job. I mean, the thing is pretty much just launched. FLR rewards. The fee is 8%. Yeah, so I would be doing something like that. Would be doing something like that. Approved. You got to approve both these spends. Just understand that. So you're gonna have some FLR tokens in there to do that. And so I'm gonna get some FLR tokens on Kraken and then share with you guys just kind of what I would do here. So there it is. Pretty good from SparkDex. Now, and the reason why I said SFLR, which is Scepter, is because you can take your FLR, your regular FLR tokens, you can stake them with Scepter, which is a liquid staking. It's essentially one of the benefits from doing it, and I'm not telling you guys to do it, but one of the benefits for staking with them is these FLR tokens become eligible for the flare drops. Right? Benefits of staking FLR/WFLR were Scepter. Flare drops increase the value of SFLR versus wrap FLR and FLR. 14.5 days unlock period. So if you stake 14.5 days, no need to periodically claim the rewards as well, which is, one of the challenges for me with staking, which I'm currently doing, is when you get your FLR tokens, you gotta, you gotta go wrap them so you can be eligible. But when I was delegating, I could set my claim to auto. So I didn't have to do anything whenever it's on auto claim. Whenever I got on my claim, it went, immediately in the wrap to being delegated. So it says here, seamlessly stake and start earning, gain additional utility on the interest-bearing assets to be freely utilized. So again, automatically in the flare drop thing, but you can take the SFLR, which is your liquid staking FLR, and you can take that and you can put that into the liquidity pool for additional rewards. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take FLR, I'm going to stake it here. I'm going to stake it here. I'm going to take the SFLR and I'm going to take some WFLR and I'm going to deposit both of those onto the SparkDex. That's what I'm going to do. Just so, because I want to participate in getting some of these emissions. I want to be early in participation on SparkDex. So that's what I'm going to do. FLR, not much, probably, I don't know, maybe $50, maybe $70, something like that. Not much here. But again, since it's in SFLR, right, I'm not missing out on flare drops. And I'm not, in this particular liquidity pool, is not a big, crazy, stressed out situation in terms of, you know, impermanent loss slant opportunity cost. That's kind of how I see it. Eric G says, appreciate you going over to see. You're welcome. So that's kind of how I see it. Direct Interior HIPAA's in the building. What's going on, bro? Those numbers are the ratio, not absolute prices. The ratio. What do you mean? What do you mean, direct interior HIPAA? Which numbers are you referring to? Eric G says strategy features new friendly like in SparkDex. So let me see. He said the ratio. Let me check SparkDex out here real quick. So the ratio should be here where it says 51% SFLR and 49% WFLR, depending upon how you choose your range, right? Depending upon how you choose your range, it kind of determines the, because this right here is the price of the asset. The price of WFLR per SFLR, right? That's the price. Or is it? I'm pretty sure that's the price. And another thing that I'm wondering here, it says manual, I get it. But when you go from the range strategy, so it sounds like direct interior HIPAA is saying this is the ratio. But I'm pretty sure this is the price of FLR per SFLR. He's saying it's the ratio. Is that what you're saying? You're saying right here, this minimum and maximum, you're saying that is not the price of FLR? Maybe that's why I had a bunch of zeros in there. So range strategy, I see they change. Zoom in and zoom out. Wow, SparkDex did a really good job. So is that what you're saying, direct interior HIP? It says for the ranges, SFLR to WFLR. So are you suggesting that once you go out of full range and you go safe, common, expert, are you saying that you don't adjust the ranges, or that you can't adjust the ranges? Or you're saying that once you leave the full range, all those ranges are set for you? You're saying not absolute price. Oh yeah, I know the range is minimum to whatever, right? So it's the price of FLR, minimum range, and then range. So that's the price though. So you're saying that the way it works is when you set that price, as long as the asset FLR is in that range, you earn the fees, right? That's what the range, that's the range you're talking about, right? So those are the ranges, but you set the price, you pick the range. And so it's based upon what do you think the FLR token is going to go down to, or what the FLR token is going to go up to, right? That's the range, right? And so you get to set that. And if the the more they stay in that range, that price range, the more fees you're earning fees. When it goes outside of that range, either to the bottom lesser amount or to the top right or to the higher amount, you're out of range, you're not earning the fees, right? You're not earning fees. So it's what is called capital efficiency. So you set these ranges to have better use of your capital. If you don't want to mess around with that necessarily, you could go with full range, or you can go quote unquote safe. So what I would do personally is I would just set a price range. I would do probably, the experts set my own price range because that's what I'm used to doing. Right. And rebalance when necessary, because it's a strategy to rebalancing. Right. We teach people how you do the balance and rebalancing and stuff like that. Full range is the purpose of a full range or a safe range is you don't have to be paying attention to that price as much because you're in a nice price that's, right. But it's not as capital efficient, quote unquote. My thing though is if we're dealing with relatively, it's S flare and WF flare. They're pretty much the same thing, right? You don't have to deal with the impermanent loss thing, and so you're not really dealing with too much of a price range thing, right? Let's see. Let me try something here. I doubt if CoinGecko is going to have this. The flare token says 01. What's that? 1741. I doubt if this is going to show up. No, it did show up. Okay, there's Scepter Staked Flare. Let's see what that price is saying. So it's 1789. And the FLR is 1741. So it is a bit of a difference there. A bit of a difference. So, oh man, I didn't share the screen, couldn't I? Let me share that with you guys just so you know. So you'll know. All right, so you can go to CoinGecko and you can put in SFLR here in the search, and the Scepter Stake FLR comes up. You see it, the price is 1789. But the FLR token is 1741. So it is less. The stake flare is more. But again, the price range in the last 24 hours is the same, 3.2%, and the stake flare was 3.1%. So it's essentially a stablecoin liquidity pool pair where you don't have the drama of decoupling like you would have with if it was FLR and USDC or USDT. Oh, hi, Keyless. What's going on? Notifications not working again? Oh, my God. Yes, that's a bummer. YouTube blows. I put a post out as well, like 20 minutes before I was going to go live, letting everyone know I was going live too. But these notifications are terrible. So that's kind of how I see it. Directing Terry Hip. This is what I normally do. It's a form of a concentrated liquidity pool, CLMM. When you begin to go to like an expert and setting your ranges or safe, which is a little bit better capital efficiency if you know how to kind of check the trends. And again, these are things that in liquidity pools that you want to be in for 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, and hopefully kind of be in range. My thing right now with these freaking emissions is probably going to be just get in a full range pool, SFLR and WFLR, and just set it and forget it. Because you're getting flare drops from the SFLR. And for the emissions, I'm not sure if you want to claim or redeem the emissions anyway. Right? I mean, why take the 50% penalty? Hold on. Hold on. You go on to the thing? Can you get my chocolate then, please?
I'm sitting there for a minute.
Yeah, so wait till we're ready to come home. Thank you. Right. So that's what I'm thinking. Think full range, set it and forget it. And just, keep earning the emissions. Come back in 12 months. That's kind of how I'm thinking. Right now. I'm going to have to think about it some more, but that's kind of how I'm thinking. Because you don't have to worry about, you don't have to sweat the impermanent loss slant opportunity risk. You don't have to factor that in. And, I did see a comment about someone saying they couldn't leave, they entered the liquidity pool and they couldn't exit it. So hopefully that's going to change. I'm going to give it a few hours to see if someone comments on that, because you want to be able to exit that liquidity pool, when moon season is kind of happening, right? Yeah, I think that pool is going to grow, quite frankly. I think that pool of SFLR and WFLR is going to grow. That's my guess. Yeah, my guess for sure. Interestingly, why they got it set up. You can select your fee tier. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. So let's go back and look at SparkDex again. Let's see if that 1% pool, the fee tier pool, if they changed it. Because I didn't see any fees there. Like, why would you enter the pool if you're not getting the fees? So let's go back to farm. All right, so you go here, and then here's a different, again, liquidity pools with the same pairs, wrap player, SFLR player, scepter, stake scepter. But you see how it says 1% here, and it says 0.3% here, 0.05%, 0.01%. You want to leverage the fees, right? Because those are good rewards. But this 1% fee here on the bottom, when I mouse over it, it says fee APR is 0. Now, I don't know if that's just like a UI UX thing or not. I don't know. I don't know. But the 0.3% fee tier, when you mouse over that one, it says the fee APR is 8%. I bet you I don't take my word for it, but I bet you they just didn't, that's a little entry they didn't do. That, my guess. My guess. The top 1.01%, yeah, that 0.94% APR. See, that's not a great one. This fee tier is 3%. That's okay. 0.05. So some people are going to pick the 0.05, right? They want to pay as little fee as possible coming in, and they're not thinking about long term. Of people coming in and leaving, people coming in and leaving. So I'm going to hang out in this one or this one, and maybe hopefully they're going to change this. We'll get a number here for this, because the APR is essentially the same. It's 30-something%, even though this is 38. That's significant. That's pretty, that's not bad. And it's 3% a month, right? Right. You're thinking long term, 3% a month, not getting that right at BOA or JP Chase thingy, right? So I'm kind of thinking here, because again, I see the fee APR on this one. I don't see the fee APR here. Plus, in addition, this is 38.9% APR, and this is 30%. So that's how I'm thinking. I'll do another stream probably tomorrow because I got a bunch of stuff I got to do today, tonight. So I don't know if I'll do another live stream. So if I'm seeing a fee APR here, if this is a mistake, they need to, like, they got to fix this right away. But right now they're saying there's no fee APR here, which means people coming in and out, no fees to be had. But it costs you to go in and it costs you to leave. Who's keeping the fees here is, I guess, SparkDe would be. So that's kind of my 2 cents on that one there. I hope that makes sense. Current APR and a 7-day APR. I gotta make sure it's this accurate. Are they doing a little Solana thing going on here? Let's see here, because this is saying 7-day APR. I guess you would divide 38, that way, I guess. I don't know. So anyway, there it is. You see the rewards are the same amount of FLR tokens, right? 19,230. It's the same. The rewards are the same. The differentiator is the fees and whether or not you're going to earn fees. I click on that, I'd be able to add. Again, someone in the comments of the SparkDe post said that liquidity providers were not able to withdraw, like remove their liquidity. So I don't know if that's factual or actual. And I don't know if you want to test, but you could always test this with $1. You could put 50 cents of SFLR and 50 cents of WFLR and see if you can take it out. You could do that. Because that's the word on the street. So let me see something here. Let's see here. First I gotta swap. Let me do something here real quick. Let's see. This is my little test wallet here, so I don't know. What does it say I have here? It says I have 449 SFLR. I want to get WFLR. And let's see here. Let me see. That's $1. I don't want to do that. I want to do 50 cents. What's that? That's 1 cent. So 50. That's 89 cents. Okay. Let's do 60. So that's 50 cents. Let's see. So do I get the 50 that way? 20, that's 50 cent, Keyless. I have 50 cent at risk here. So let's see. Because again, someone in the comments said you couldn't withdraw liquidity. So I'm going to just add this liquidity here and see what's good. So let's swap 50 cents. And now we got 50 cents of this WFLR. All right, so let's do that. Let's approve it. You have to approve, and then you're going to have to swap. So, no, we want that. Let's do 29. All right, 29 FLR. Permit 2 approval submitted. Okay, there it is. FLR approved. Okay, so there it is. That got approved. Now, 28.5. I don't know if I need to do it again or not, but I'll do it again. All right, permit 2 approve SFLR. There it is. Okay. So let's see. There's a reason why you're having to do it twice. Now you get the price. and what it's going to cost. Yeah, I don't know. There is the swap. That's the one you're looking for. You're looking for the swap. So you just keep approving until you get the swap thing. Okay. It's 0.0003 FLR. So now I'm going to do the actual swap of swapping SFLR for wrapped FLR. So let's swap. Confirm the swap. 0.3% slippage. So confirm the swap. .016 FLR. Swap submitted. It says swap succeeded. So that's the swap is done. I wonder if it's going to put this in my wallet or not. Let's see. All right, so let's see here. Let's switch this around. Do I have WFLR? I do have WFLR in the wallet, 29.2 FLR. All right, so now let's go back over to this pool. See what's good. I'm going to start at the farm, and then it's going to take me to the pool, but I'd rather do it that way. Let's go here. Here are the different pools that in this particular thing. Liquidity pair. Liquidity pool right here. So I'm going to click this one with this 0.3% because, again, I'm not seeing a fee APR on that 1%. But we check this, and so there it is there. All right, so click on it, and it says I can add. When I hit add, it takes me to the pool where I got to do all the stuff here. So we're going to say double-sided manual, 0.3% is already selected. I'm going to do full range. And I don't think I have to do anything. We got to change this. We want to do 20. I think if I do the SFLR first, the WFLR should. It's a 28.5. I don't have enough WFLR. All right, so let's do the WFLR part. Do the bottom one first. So let's do all of the WFLR. So let's do max. There it is. So this is 50 cents. Now this is a little better. So they got approving each one individually. So that's good. I don't know why I still have to do approvals, but in any case, this is nice that they got it set up that way. So let's approve this. $29. Next. You always want to do like a point something more than what you're approving so that it'll go through. You can do 0.1 more and it'll work. So it says that was approved. Now let's approve. Oh, nice. Nice job, SparkDex. Keyless, I'm kind of impressed with SparkDex, the people over at SparkDex. I'm kind of impressed right now what they got going on. Now I'm approving the WFLR. And that's 29.2. Oh, good. Perfect. They got it. 29.2. Now, the next thing that, okay, there it is. The next thing that should pop up is the add liquidity. Now, remember, this is recently launched. I mean, I don't know, fairly recently launched, right? So I did full range. Efficiency comparison. Full range positions may earn less fees than concentrated positions. Learn more. Okay, that's cool. So I'm going to hit, I understand that. I got all that. I'm going to add this liquidity. Now, the purpose of this is just to see if the guy in the comments is correct about not being able to remove the liquidity after you put it in. So just confirm $1. A whole dollar just to test it out. It's going to cost 0.015 FLR. Flare Networks, I'm just telling you, do not fade Flare freaking networks. All right, so The liquidity is in there. All right, so what we got going on here? Your pools. Nice job, SparkDex. SFLR, WFLR. Nice job. Says the fee. Shows you what you're in. Now, I wonder if it's, do I get LP tokens out of this joint or what's going on here? Don't see any LP tokens. Now, again, it's only $1. So you see the pool shares, it shows nothing there. Okay. So let's see if we can immediately withdraw, because let me see where that comment was. Any risk of impermanent loss on single deposits? Fourth time asking. I don't know. I hope Angelo figured it out. He's thinking if I just lend one asset, but this is the assets being split. So it depends on a liquidity pair. It depends on the pool you're entering. But this person said, guys, don't use this for now, says. You cannot access your liquidity when your LP gets, when your LP gets out of range. Ah, that's what he said. I thought he just said you couldn't exit, period. You cannot access your liquidity when your LP gets out of range. The add or remove liquidity is the basic and core, but they don't fix. So many SparkDex users that provided LP are not allowed their position to remove. So he's saying if it goes out of range, they're not letting you withdraw so that you can rebalance and or change the range. That's what I think he's saying, direct anterior hip. So, okay, so that's different. So let's go over to the SparkDex. But I'm in the full range one, so it wouldn't matter. You see here it says price and range. I mean, it's a full range. So you got a lot of room. And plus, we're talking about FLR and SFLR and WFLR, right? So that would probably be the strategy. I mean, technically, but if you don't have to worry about going out of range, that's less of a headache. Good place to start. So probably full range and a pair that is essentially a liquidity pool pair that is essentially stablecoin pair because it's the same token. So that's probably what I'll do. So you don't have to necessarily worry about, like when you get out of range in liquidity pools and concentrated liquidity pools, you withdraw and you set a new range. Now there's a strategy to the range so that you don't suffer the impermanent loss. That's the thing that we teach in the Patreon. But he's saying that you can't do it. So, but I'm pretty sure. Let's see if we can just withdraw from here. Let's just do a little withdrawal. Again, his context was in being out of range in the liquidity pool and wanting to withdraw your liquidity so that you could set a new range. So, and by new range means you don't pick full range. You pick safe, common, or expert, in which you set your range. And he's saying that if you get out of that range, you can't withdraw to reset that range. That's what he's saying. But we're in a full range one where you don't, and again, you got the two tokens that are essentially the same token, so you don't have to worry about them decoupling from one another, right? And you're in a full range one as well. So it's not a lot to worry about. I would say that's a good one for someone who just wants to set it and forget it, not have to worry. You still want to participate and earn some admissions. That's kind of how I see it. Pookie says, starting from the beginning, no notification again. This is terrible. What is going on with YouTube? Absolutely terrible. I'm sorry this happened to you guys. Yeah, that's crazy. And I am doing post. I'm using my YouTube app and I'm doing a post. I don't know if you guys are seeing these posts or not, Keyless and Pookie. But I do a post like 15 minutes to 30 minutes before I'm gonna go live to let people know when I'm going live. Are you guys seeing those posts? So that's kind of where I see it, guys. That's kind of my strategy. That's what I'm looking at right now. Again, probably $50 to $75 probably is going to be in that range on SparkDex, but I'm first going to get SFLR. So that those tokens will be flare drop eligible and earning kind of some kind of APY from Scepter. And then getting some WFLR as well. Got to figure out how I'm going to do that because I get the flare and how do I wrap the flare? If I get the flare on the exchange. So wait a minute. I wonder if, if I swap SFLR to WFLR, the WFLR is getting flare drops as well. So yeah, that's it. The WFLR gets flare drops as well. So both of the tokens, SFLR and WFLR, you're going to be getting flare drops. So that feels like the move right there, Keyless. It feels like the move is if you got dirty, nasty fiat hanging around, whatever, or if you're getting big, amounts of flare drops anyway. It seems by way of Scepter into the liquidity pool on SparkDex seems to be the move. That's what it's seeming like to me. Seeming like that's making the most sense. I got some dirty, nasty fiat on Kraken. I am going to, I got stables on Kraken. I am going to turn the stable into USD, buy FLR tokens, and send them to my play around test wallet, and then deposit those FLR tokens on to Scepter, which is staking, liquid staking, then take the SFLR to SparkDex and enter that liquidity pool with the 0.03% fee tier that is paying you rewards and fees in addition to the reward program that Flare Networks is offering. So that's kind of where I am. That's what I'm going to do. Hopefully, I'll be able to get a live stream in showing you guys that I'm doing that step by step. Hopefully, but I got a little timeline here that I got to get done before Friday morning. I'm dreading it, absolutely dreading it, but I got to get it done. All right, family, there it is. Thank you so much for hanging out, guys. Do me a favor, hit that like button. That would be super, super cool. We always like to have just as many likes as we got viewers in the stream. That would be awesome if you guys can do it. This helps to get the channel out to more people hanging out on YouTube, watching sharks, watching tiger sharks, jump into fishing boats. I saw that today, like, the world? And the dude kicked the tiger shark. Crazy. Tiger shark jumped on the boat. Well, he jumped on the edge of the boat and flew off the boat. Maddening. So in any case, do me a favor, if you happen to be in that 45 to 50% of people that are listening to and watching the crypto season, you haven't been enjoying those hangouts. We're trying to get that number from 50% down to about 25%. And if you've been enjoying the hangouts, please consider doing your part to help that number go down from 50%. That would be super, super cool. And don't forget to ring the notification so that you know whenever we go live or whenever we upload a video. I'm going to end this one like I do all my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. But that's okay, though, because you and I, we're already winning. And I would ask you to consider this, perhaps ponder the idea or notion of living your life permissionless. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya. Bye.